price of cognitive dissonance and delusion.
Yeah, alright. Y'all know what it is. So we're gonna get straight down to business, right? Now, we're gonna talk about how we've all been conditioned over the years through propaganda to buy into delusion and not even see it that we support shit that is so fucking just diabolical when it suits our narrative and our beliefs and our ideologies, because we've been conditioned to think that how we feel overrides universal law. Pay attention.
The stereotypical Americans defend Israel.
Yeah,
You're
because
probably a Trump
we're against Islamic terrorism.
Oh,
We
who's
defend
we're?
Israel.
Who's we?
Americans are against Islamic terrorism.
I'm an American, and I'm not against Islamic terrorism because that simply does not exist.
Okay, if I pull up the GTI, the Global Terrorism Index.
I think she forgot about 9/11 and the Twin Towers, but I digress.
Which is an independent database that has the top 10 terrorist groups in the world, and they're all Islamic, and the top 10 biggest terror attacks.
Who created that statistic? Where are you going to get the statistic from?
It's independent.
Okay, here's the thing.
Boko Haram?
Yes, I did say earlier.
Here, I'll pull it up for you. Ready? GTI 2026, and you can look it up too. You're gonna
If it's
tell
in
me
American stores, it's definitely false. America lies
it's
about
an
a lot of things.
independent.
You know Trump? You know the orange
Oh,
pedophile
but
in office?
Hamas doesn't lie, right? Dude, your prophet's a pedophile. He married a 6-year-old. Don't play that game.
Oh, my prophet's a pedophile? First of all, he's not. Second,
Now, I'm not here to go either way. I'm playing the advocate. We all know what the definition of a map, as they call them now, is, right? And per the definition of a map, and per their own theological texts, as well as historical facts, by definition, what would that be called?
How old was Aisha?
Isaiah
was
dated Rebecca. Isaiah dated Rebecca.
Rebecca wasn't 3.
Isaiah or Isaac?
Rebecca wasn't 3. We
Isaac
can go
was
over
like,
this.
Isaac was like 24, 22, and then
Rebecca wasn't
Rebecca was
3.
16.
24 and 16? That's the same thing as 54 and 6?
Well, you're saying that my prophet's a pedophile.
24 and 16.
If you want to bring up pedophilia,
24 and 16 is legal in America today. Isaac wasn't a pedophile.
Do you really think?
Are you gonna let me talk? You're getting emotional. You think it's okay for a 54-year-old to marry a 6-year-old?
First of all, I'm not getting emotional. I'm not sensitive.
Okay. You think it's okay for a 54-year-old to marry a 6-year-old? Muhammad, your earliest sources, your Islamic scholars say he was 54. Aisha narrates in the Hadith that she was 6.
Do you really think that every Muslim is going to live life exactly like how the Prophet did it?
Why?
Obviously
He's the most perfect man, though.
Obviously not, because let me finish.
Wait, is he time bound?
Obviously not. Obviously, let me finish.
All right, the floor is yours.
So the Prophet was alive in the year 500, somewhere around there.
Yeah, this doesn't matter because he's supposed to set the.
Let me finish. You're not even let me finish.
I already know what you're gonna say. Oh, it was normal back then.
No,
it wasn't.
you're not. A lot of things back then were normal, but nowadays they're not normal.
Okay, I already said this.
Let me talk.
She just said it herself. A lot of things back then were normal. Maps. She herself said it. Therefore, by implication, it was okay.
Let me talk.
I already addressed this.
Was normal.
So it was pedophilia back then.
Okay, but back then it was normal. Times have changed.
Okay, so because it was okay.
Do you really think that you're?
What she doesn't even realize, what she just stated, is that the founder of her belief system is a pedophile. And it was okay because back then it was normal for men to partake in these activities. So according to her, this was the global standard in those times, around 500 AD, according to her.
You're gonna go on the cross and sacrifice your life for our sins, just like how Jesus did? No, because he was alive a long time ago.
I don't think that a human sacrifice for the atonement of sins.
That's what Christians believe. I'm talking in Christian terminology.
Okay, so you don't like whenever I cut you off, but you like to cut me off. Okay, but is Muhammad the most perfect man of all time?
So you are going off of.
Is Muhammad the most perfect man of all time? Muhammad is considered to be the most perfect man of all time, not bound by his time.
Okay, so if you want to bring up, if you want to bring up Muhammad,
yeah, you want to compare Jesus' life to Muhammad's and see who was a better person?
Yes, I
you
believe
don't
in
want to. You
Islam.
don't want to compare Jesus to Muhammad because you know Jesus was a better person. Why was
That's not
Jesus?
true. That's not true. That's not true. The stereotypical American.
Now, I'm not going to get into the back and forth of all that because that was not my purpose or intention. But however, you can see the delusion when something that they know is wrong, someone that they know is wrong, but will still find any way to validate their feelings.
It's defend Israel.
Yep.
This is dirty work, ladies and gentlemen, but hold on, there's more.
واحد مالن مبدية مالن مذو شلي برلمانك وحو أصو ساري أما أوغان كوغاري وحلا أخبالي كرماها أننا مسلم بانهاي بقول كي بقول مسلم بانهاي سومالي إلهي هلغا عبصدو أرنتان أرنك هرتك أباهان واي آبي علمدين السوماليات آبي علمدين السوماليات وارث الأنبياء باتهين إذن كان هذا المقلنا maxaa dhacay maxaa loogu aamusan yahay arintan aaway sheekh sumow aaway ma noola miyaa aaway sheekh shaakir ma noola miyaa war aaway culimadeena ilaahay ka cabsan war ilaahay ka cabsan ilaahay u laabano sheekh maxamed maalin abshir aaway sheekh nur cali jimcaale aaway war ilaahay ka cabsan sheekh cabdirasaaq ashari aaway war ilaahay ka cabsan war ilaahay ka cabsan arintan la aqbali karama dadkan waana rogayaan ilaahay aan ka cabsan war ilaahay aan ka cabsan arrimahan laga hortago arrima la aqbali karo ma aha 18 sano gaalay qoran tahay caruurtooda ku qaangaaraan annaga inaan ku raacno ma aha nabiga sallallahu alayhi wasallam khalif al mushrikiin buu nafaray inaan mushrikiinta khilaafnana la faray ilaahay aan ka cabsan war ilaahay aan ka cabsan war ilaahay aan ka cabsan
the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand. They will tell you, I don't know my father. Well, who named you? Whose name are you carrying? Well, my mother chose his name for me. You know, I don't know. Is that what we want for our ummah? No. كلهم أو معظمهم أبناء الزنا. أبناء الزنا. Why? Because man, he has to give up the seed. And because the marriage will limit them, they will go from one to another to a third.
Now, according to this imam, speaking to his Somalian brothers at the mosque, we don't know who our father is. Yet they have time to worry and cry about this.
shalay baarlamaanka wuxuu u soo saaray ama uu go'aan ku gaaray wax la aqbali karo ma aha annaga muslim baan nahay.
And this is what I talk about when I say people are so wrapped up in delusion that they can't see the bullshit that be coming out their mouth. So while we have no culture and don't know who our father is, because we all the product of one night stands, whoo, this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we're at. And understand what that means for all of us if we continue down this path.
Residents in New York say they're alarmed after seeing Muslim community patrols driving through their neighborhoods in what looked like police squad cars. One America's Pearson Sharp has the details.
New Yorkers say they're shocked after seeing Muslim patrol cars roaming their neighborhoods like police squads. These Muslim community patrols just began operating in Brooklyn this year, and according to the Council on American Islamic Relations, they are the first of their kind in the United States. The patrols sprang up as an apparent response to some 14 biased incidents against New York Muslims in 2017. Actually, a rather low number, considering there's over 8.6 million people living in the city. According to the group's vice president, Noor Rabah, the group currently has 30 members, but plans on rapidly expanding to cover the entire city. He describes the Muslim patrols like a neighborhood watch, but on steroids, with members dressed like police officers and driving cars identical to police squad cars. Residents say they're uncomfortable with the patrols, which they describe as being similar to Sharia police. Others have raised doubts about the purpose of the patrols, saying New York's police department is already very diverse, and their only job is to patrol the city streets and protect people from harassment or crime. So why does there need to be a Muslim group tasked with the same job as the police? Even other Muslims have raised questions about the need for the patrols, with residents expressing fears this is just another form of Sharia law enforcement. Similar groups can already be seen in other major European cities in Denmark, Germany, France, Sweden, and Britain. These patrols have been going on for years, and a CNN report caught Muslims from a patrol in London harassing residents. In Whitechapel, one man can be heard insulting a gay man, calling him offensive names and telling him he wasn't welcome in a Muslim area. Others denounce residents for drinking, claiming this is a Muslim area and alcohol is not permitted. They also harassed a woman as she was crossing the street, warning her that her short skirt was not allowed in Muslim areas. And now, with the arrival of these Muslim patrols to New York City, Americans are becoming worried they'll fall under the same harassment for not following Islamic practices. Pearson Sharp, One America.
Residents in New York.
This is my question. And does anyone out there have an answer for me? But how is it that so many foreign nationals are allowed to come over here? Because it's not just Muslim groups. Because the Capri Suns in Brooklyn do the same exact thing. They even have their own EMTs and ambulances. But my question is do you think this would be allowed if, let's say, Black Americans or Hispanic Americans, even if white Americans started their own police forces within the communities where we already have city and state law enforcement paid for through our tax dollars? But do you think that would be allowed if we had a foundational Black American PD or a Puerto Rican PD or a Taiwanese American PD? Just asking for a friend. But this is where we're at, and understand the slippery slope that we're on, because as you fight to dry ice and allow 20 million people that just got here unvetted to stay. Anyways, realize, and transparency forces accountability. Y'all keep your eyes to the stars and keep that head on a... I'm not even going to do it today because I'm starting to realize that most people are so apathetic. They really do not care about keeping their heads on a swivel because they don't even care to see what's actually happening to them. And yeah, we're in the diabolical den of demons, aka the Viper's Pit. Y'all be safe out there and stay dangerous.